go. Invincible.
Hello everybody and welcome into the World Center of Racing Daytona International Speedway live for race number 2 of the Big Dog Little Dog Series presented by McCall Motorsports Money Racing. Thank you all so much for tuning in. You are watching Austin Green on Coast Racing Network. We got a good show for you here tonight. First things first, gotta say thank you all so much. We hit 1,000 subs just probably about 30 minutes ago, one of the big milestones, and as hard as Bryce has worked, I know how much this means to him, how much it means to me, and just want to say thank you all so much for that. Now, moving on into the race that we got for you here tonight, let's get it kicked off with some of your pre-race ceremonies and getting started with your starting grid here on the night. Garrett Maines, he will take the pole in the 29 car, ran a 50.065. To his outside is going to be NBG Motorsports' Jeff Merck. Matt Lee back in third with Matthew Baker in fourth. Jason Maines, last week's winner, he starts fifth, already locked into the playoffs, by the way, along with his teammate John Darnell. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Aubrey Thompson on the outside in sixth. Daniel Eberhardt rolls off in seventh with J.R. Miller in eighth, Logan York in ninth, and John Mullahan rounding off your top 10. Ron Morris Jr. and Chad Ross are going to be making up row number 6. It's Steve Sizemore and Justin Mills in row number 7. Danny Esselman, he will roll off in that 15th spot. On his outside, it's going to be Nasper and Billa for Team PGR. David Sheets in 17th. Dustin Carruthers in 18th with Mark Vondell in 19th. Jimmy Emos in 20th. Larry McDonald 21st. Joey Galati in 22nd. John Ward 23rd, Dylan Jones 24th, Heath Jobe, Joshua McCall making up row 13, Christopher McCullough in 27th, Ken McCullough Jr. in 28th, Dallas Knox in 29th, Danny Barnes rounding out your top 30, Tyler Vickery in 31st, Samuel Carter starts in 32nd, Josh Gambrone, he rounds out the field tonight and he will be rolling off from that 33rd position. Taking a look at what your race info looks like here on the night. Again, it's race 2 of 9 for the series, and it is in the Xfinity Series tonight. The other big change, we are at Daytona International Speedway, not at Talladega. 50% fuel, still 40 laps, 5 sets of tires. You do have one fast pair if you need it. Fixed setups as always, and 3 green-white checkers if we need them. Track temp under 70 degrees. These cars are going to have a lot of grip. You're going to see a lot of pushing, a lot of bump draft, and it's going to be a good one. Weather outside 65 degrees, no humidity, clear skies, and winds at 1 mile an hour, 2.5 miles, the length of 1 lap around Daytona International Speedway. All right, so as they get ready to roll again, the storyline, at least coming into this week, was the format, and everybody realizing that by Jason Maines getting the win, not only did he lock himself into that championship race, but he also locked his teammate John Darnell, who's looking for a couple good runs this season, in as well. So the stress is off for that team. If you're Jason or John, you're out here chasing trophies and chasing money. Don't have to worry about necessarily putting as much pressure on yourself as you would. They didn't secure that win last week, and now the pressure's on everybody else as it was last week. Look on your scoring pylon. If drivers don't have a letter, they're not competing for the championship at all. They're just out here trying to win some money in the race itself. If they do have a letter, find the guy with the same letter, and those are your teammates. Here we go into the restart zone. Green flag is in the air for race number 2. Coming to complete lap 1, and the leader at the line is going to be Garrett Maines in the 1 car. On his outside, it is Jeff Merck in the 60. Already 2 of the NBG guys lined up, and important to note, Merck, Lee, and Baker, they are not running for the championship, so maybe a little contrary to what we were expecting with this series. That's actually 3 normal teammates that are still going to be working together here tonight. Garrett Maines looking for his teammate right now. You see he's got the O next to his name, and actually we are missing a couple guys here tonight, but he's going to be looking all the way back for the other driver with an O. And on your scoring pylon, I believe that might have been Jeremy Osborne, who again is not here tonight. So Garrett Maines again going to try to carry the fortress, if you will, here tonight. Jason Maines back in third. Daniel Eberhardt, Aubrey Thompson back in row number 3. And pre-race sounded like, I don't know if you want to call it beef or just a little friendly race banter between Eberhardt and maybe Matt Lee. Talk about a little head-to-head bet of a Benjamin Franklin $100 bill. Not sure if they followed through on it or not. Maybe we'll get some insight on that by the end of the race. Talked about fuel, 100%, or excuse me, 50%, so these guys are all going to be able to go about 20 laps in the Xfinity cars. Again, a little bit bigger of a fuel tank in these cars than there is in the truck. So I think we'll see that first pit stop again right at lap 20, maybe give or take a lap depending on if you save or if you're in the front of this draft. But the point is, with splitting it in half, that means only that one green flag pit stop. You're going to have to be good on it. You're going to have to nail it because you're not going to get a second chance at it. Only 2x2 for now, keeping the racing calm and increasing the chance that we do see that green flag stop. You have a fast pair if you need it, but you don't want to have to use it. Only until we get within about 15 laps to go. That's when the action starts to pick up, but we go green, you may not even have a chance. Here's a look now at NASCAR and Bill up top on the cockpit view here for the driver of the 25 here tonight. And he is another one of the guys, the big dog of the team, captain, whatever you want to call it. He is going to be looking for his fellow teammate, the other man with the J next to their name. As we talked about some of the guys that maybe were missing here tonight, not his teammate, Logan York. He is present, and he is making his presence felt. Already up a position from where he started, running inside the top 10 and 8th. And Little Dog, Big Dog Series, we know that they try to split the little guys from the big guys, but it's a little bit of a powerhouse duo right there. Brent Billa and York both with plenty of talent. Plenty of style points for Logan himself, and could be a group to watch by the end of this season. 3 wide, here we go up top. It's going to be the 0-1 of Joshua McCall. Not the way he wanted his race to end last week. Got wrecked coming to the white flag, and there is the wreck. Further out back, the 80 of Larry McDonald and Mark Vondell. Both collected. Caution is out for the first time here tonight. I think I might have jinxed him. The two ex-teammates both go around. Nothing they necessarily did to each other. I think Larry's going to get collected here from somebody else, and then Mark comes along as the innocent victim. So here we go. Let's back this up and take a look from the chopper. You see Larry's in the middle of three wide. On his outside there is the 85 machine of Samuel Carter. And on the inside, looks like it's the 31. And Larry starts to go down, and car just shoots right up the track. And very tired of stalling, I think, knows what I'm getting ready to say. We'll take a look at the cockpit view first, but not sure if Larry just got a little antsy there. Thought maybe he was getting ready to run into the 31 of Danny Eshelman. But, yeah, definitely odd to see that car shoot up the track as quickly and as aggressive as it did. And then as you saw there, Mark Vondell coming along with nowhere to go. And he's going to get collected. Larry just almost misses it. Or I guess I should say Mark Vondell just almost misses it there, but Larry, as he spins down, collects him. That takes the front nose off of Mark Vondell along with the rear bumper. So that's going to be his first fast pair of the night. I think Larry will probably have to take his as well. Let's go to the onboard view here for Larry McDonald. And let's see if he holds the wheel straight and just gets shot up, or does he maybe make the input that leads to the output? That's hard to say, man. I mean, a little bit of adjustments. It's still a really odd look. I mean, you see he's got the wheel. Let's watch the wheel angle here. As he goes down, see it's good there, good there. He's going to make a little bit of an adjustment back to the right. That's just too hard for me to call. Maybe a little bit of a sour wheel input, but not much. Surprised to see it make the car travel that far up the banking in the trial. But nonetheless, it does draw first blood for your cautions here tonight. Let's take a look from the TV static cam. Take one more view of this actually from TV3. And there you go. Very tired of stalling. You got the answer. It's netcode. Hey, you said it, not me, so we can go ahead and use it in this case. But no, in all seriousness, that was certainly what you initially thought, but it wasn't quite as aggressive as you would kind of expect with netcode, but just a really odd look, and I didn't notice that initially, but that would be how Mark Vondell got all that rear end damage. As you saw, he got tagged pretty hard right there by the 10 of Joey Galati. And so he's going to have some front end damage as well. I'm not sure if that's going to be a fast repair. We'll go back and take a look, figure it all out as we go back up front. Vondell still in the pits. I think he might have been paying a tow bill. You go to Larry McDonald, he's still in there as well, getting some repairs, and just as I say that, he's getting ready to roll out. As we go back towards the front of the field, though, it's Garrett Maines being scored as your leader, John Ward in second, Matt Lee back in third, Jason Maines in fourth, Jeff Merck fifth, Jimmy Emos in sixth with Matthew Baker in seventh, Daniel Everhart eighth, Aubrey Thompson in ninth, and Logan York Rounding out your top 10. He's looking for his teammate Nash Brambilla. Doesn't have to look too far. About 2 rows back is where you can find the driver of the 25 here tonight. Looks like Nash got a new paint scheme. Looks like he's got the PRSsetup.com Team PGR. You love to see it. Further back, Justin Mills going to be looking for some help from a couple of his teammates here tonight. How about a look here at Christopher McCall? And how about Chris? We talk about all the time. We don't see him in money racing as much as you once used to, but when he comes out here with a purpose. He's looking to win. It's exactly what he's doing tonight, and good news for him. His teammate Dustin Carruthers is currently in that 15th position, already up 3 from where he started. If those two can get linked together, that is going to be another powerhouse duo to watch throughout this series. And it's kind of a tough balance, right? I mean, I like the idea of winning you're in, and it helps kind of both ways, right? You have one guy who's maybe carrying the weight a little bit more. He can help get both of you in, and then you got a team who maybe they don't have a guy that's quite as talented as the guy on another team, but together they equal that talent and they're able to work together to get a win. And so however you got to do it, you figure it out, you get the win, the pressure's off. And for the next 7 weeks, actually, I believe after this 9-race season, you can just come out here, try to win as much money as possible, and get ready for the big one at the end of the season. Speaking of the season, next week these guys are going to head to Atlanta Motor Speedway. I believe they do go back to the trucks. Make sure you go check that out. We will not be here for the broadcast for that one, as we will be running the 24 hours of Daytona. Actually, the Rolex 24 hours of Daytona. Excited for that. I will be joining Matthew Baker, Alex Hill, Cody Nagels. And haven't announced the team name yet. Got a little hype trailer coming up about it. Make sure you stay tuned for that. But tonight we're focused on the action here. John Ward's going to line up on the outside there of Garrett Maines. Row 2 is going to be Jason and Matt. Jeff Merck and Matthew Baker looks like they're going to line up in row 3. That's 67 of Jimmy Emos. Good looking paint scheme on his Toyota Supra. Daniel Eberhardt just behind. Daniel, one of those drivers that's out here just strictly going for money tonight. Aubrey Thompson going to line up on his inside. Logan York alongside J.R. Miller. Ron Morris Jr. Good to see him in the field tonight. If you ever need a paint scheme, make sure that you go check out Ron's Race Paint. Does a phenomenal job. I bet you a couple of different cars that you see in this field tonight are painted by Ron. John Mullihan, his teammate on the inside. Not his teammate for this series, but of course McCall Motorsports teammate. So as we go back to the front, speaking of, actually we'll go back here for just a moment. The 31. I was trying to go to Joey right there. Well, we saw Danny Epsilon involved in that last strike. I don't think he got much damage, but going even further back here to Joey Galati. I don't know if he had to use a fast pair, but the front end is certainly cleaned up. He's ready to go, as is Larry McDonald. Mark Vondell back out on track. He's got a new car. Got to be careful, though, from here. No more fast pair. Still expecting a green flag pit stop. All this does, though, is push it back to probably right around lap 28 is how far you can run before you're going to run out of fuel. We'll see how they decide to approach it. All right, here we go. Pace car pulls back off. Garrett Maines leading the way into the Geico restart zone for the second time here tonight. Green flag is back in the air. Through the gears we go. It's a good jump for that inside line, but John Ward does have some help right now from Jason Maines. Problem is, that's all they've got. That third row is not organized on the outside. The 60 of Jeff Murph. He's going to have a chance to jump up, trying to clear his teammate Matthew Baker with him. Nothing doing yet, and now that momentum's going to stall. Does Jeff stay down low here? Looks like he does. Here comes the 67 of Jimmy Emos and Daniel Eberhardt. Big run. Where do you take it here through the 67? Looks like he's going to play conservative right now. He'll let off, and he is more than happy to just tuck in line and ride for now. When we cross the line, it'll still be 31 laps to go. So again, still a whole green flag pit stop to expect, but oh, Matthew Baker, a little bit of a moment right there. So it looked like maybe just bumped the apron. Logan York got tight on his spoiler, got him all out of shape, but Baker was able to hang on. Keeps going. Let's actually take a ride on board in the middle of this mess with John Mullihan. The speeds these guys are running here tonight with the cool track temp are pretty fast, up to just about 192 miles an hour. If we go even further towards the front, where the pushing's a little bit more aggressive, how about we go actually out front here to Garrett Maines. Watch the speeds he's going to get up to here towards the end of the back straightaway. Daytona super stretch. Well over just about, not quite, just about a mile in length. And here you go, 194, maybe 195, there it is. That's a big push for Garrett Maines as he continues to lead. He's led the most so far here tonight, and he still's got John Ward on his outside. Matt Lee as his lead pusher. Jason Maines on the outside trying to get Ward back in front, and with that cooler track temp that we see in, it's not really warmed up at all. Still at 68 degrees. This weather is not dynamic. It makes it harder for that outside line to roll. The bottom isn't going to get overheated as quick. And so the question is, Do you maybe make a third lane that somehow finds a way to roll even better? That's exactly what Ken McCullough Jr. is trying to do. A little bit of contact further back right there. We got one in the wall. Looks like it is going to be the 4 of Justin Mills. He's able to get it straightened back out and get it back under control, but that was a little bit of a close call right there. Hold your breath moment for the driver up to number 4. Steve Sizemore with a good run. He is 3 wide right now in the middle of Chad Ross, who it's good to see back out here. One of the Team 3 drivers not running in the Series Championship. But again, look for some payouts. Oh, contact up front. Can Ross miss it? Nashbrett Bills around. They're all sliding in. We have got ourselves a pileup out of turn number 4. Big hit for the 85. Gets T-boned right at the end of it. That was Samuel Carter. Debris flying everywhere, and he's crab walking. Heavy damage. That'll be a fast spare for, I see, at least 5 cars right now. And these guys had just started to get 3 wide. And it started to get you a little nervous, and then next thing you know, see him wrecking in front of Chad Ross. So as Carter crab walks it back to the pits here, see if we can break down exactly what all goes wrong right here. Going from the spotter view, let's start with, is that going to be, watch Samuel Carter in the 85. No, that doesn't start. It starts ahead here with the 67 and the 90 of Daniel Everhart. Let's go further up. I'm not sure. I think Everhart probably got pretty bad damage from this as well, but that's Jimmy Emos. Is he going to wash up here? It certainly looks like he is. And then once they make contact, that's going to hook the 67 hard into the outside wall, and then it's a melee from there. Everybody piling in. It happened right in the middle of the pack as they were 3 wide, so not a lot of room to kind of escape or duck left or right. And right at the end there, Ken McCullough Jr. with another big hit. As that car had already been pretty crippled, maybe damaged suspension or loss of brakes. And here you go. Taking another look from the chopper view. This will tell us if, I don't think Everhart moved down at all. Yeah, there you go. Everhart's up top. He's running above the white, and yeah, not much really to it there. Jimmy Emos just slowly washes up. Not sure if he knew they were 3 wide or just cars started to get a little tight on him, but Everhart with heavy damage as well. He's going to have to take his fast repair. It's further back. I mean, Mills, Brambilla, the list goes on and on. Christopher McCullough. This was a very, very big wreck here early on, so this is going to help calm the field down a little bit as we take a couple different views. It's a lot of people with only 1 car left in the race. We saw the first wreck. Now you see the second one, and it's probably easier to count the amount of drivers that made it through this than the ones that were involved. And the 85 of Samuel Carter definitely got the worst of it right there. Let's take a ride on board with them here from the cockpit view. This is Jimmy Emos actually, but see Samuel Carter coming to the picture. Man, he takes a wallop of a lick on the outside wall there. Right off turn 4, David Sheets on the bottom. And there's the secondary contact with Christopher McCall. Final look here from TV3. Man, John Mullihan, he gets a little bit of damage, but he escapes this for the most part, as does Aubrey Thompson. Then 85 of Samuel Carter, the first one to not make it through. Ron Morris Jr., Logan York, J.R. Miller, all sideways on the apron to miss it, and they're able to do so. So as we go back live, brings out your second caution total of the night with 13 laps complete. Heath Job, interestingly enough, being scored as your leader here, but he's on the pit, so I got to think he's going to hand it over to Garrett Maines, followed by Larry McDonald, Matt Lee, Jeff Merck, and Matthew Baker would be rounding out your top 5. John Ward back in 6th. Jason Maines 7th, Ron Morris Jr. in 8th. David Sheets 9th, and J.R. Miller should be rounding out your top 10. We do have one driver cam here tonight. Getting ready a couple times to take a look at it, but had so many incidents we did get a chance to, and maybe not the best time, but Tyler Vickery right now on the pits. Looks like he's making his way out in that 24 Apex Racing machine. Appreciate Tyler hopping on board, giving us some extra insight, in-car views, and he's going to have some work ahead of him right here because now that he has used that fast repair, there's a chance that if he gets involved in another wreck, it could very well bring his night to an end. We'll see how he approaches it. So we go back up front. Sure enough, Heath Job did have to, surrender the lead right there. And he's going to fall pretty far back, maybe even to the back of the line. So Maines and McDonald, going to line up in row 1. By the way, Larry McDonald, if you couldn't tell by the paint scheme, one of the newer additions to the overall team of Hyper Motorsport. But here tonight and for the rest of the series, you see he's got the F next to his name. He is working with team captain John Ward, maybe part of the reason that they ended up forming a team in Hyper. And so that might be the only team that we see in the field that what are teammates normally outside of the series are still teammates inside of this series. So with 14 laps to go, it's going to be 15 complete. Or excuse me, 14 laps complete. It'll be 15 when we cross the line. Still not at that 20 mark, so still expecting potentially that one green flag pit stop here. But now it's going to push it back so you can go to lap 34 if you need to. If we get another caution anytime after probably lap 18, then I think everybody will be good to go on fuel. So right now, I think we're still going to see maybe a couple guys play it conservative. Maybe they get it lined up. Maybe they don't. Don't think there's any halfway war. There might be. I know last week at Talladega, actually, there was. So we'll have to find out on that. Even if there is, though, it certainly wouldn't be a caution unless they were to wreck. So you got to keep your car clean, got to take care of it. Garrett Maines has been able to do that so far here tonight. Matt Lee back in third. That's a couple of good pushers lined up on the inside as the outside. A lot of NBG guys. And then you see a couple of the McCullough Motorsports, Ron Morris Jr. He's up there alongside David Sheets. We are getting ready to go back green. If you're just tuning in, we appreciate you being here. Sit down, get comfortable. We still have 26 laps of racing at the World Center of Racing. Here we go, back into the restart zone. Let's take a ride on board here with Matt Lee for this restart. As they work their way onto the Daytona Super Stretch, Matt Lee, you saw all the action as he got through the gears. He stayed linked up with Garrett Maines, and as a result, they have pulled a 4-car train clear. Baker and Maines clear on the outside along with Matt Lee. Baker's going to be the first one to make a move all the way up to the top. Larry McDonald didn't like what he sees. Now he's going to go 3 wide, get split in the middle by Jeff Merck. Here comes John Ward looking for a push. Not going to be able to pick up his teammate. We'll see if he jumps out to try to save him or if he stays low. And that was a little bit of a, call it a rookie mistake for Larry McDonald right there. Tried to split. That's not going to work out. Not sure if he split because he wanted to go to the back or if he was trying to go to the front. But in that case, you got to just try to push the guy as long as the momentum is still there. Chad Ross starting to work his way up into the picture and now inside the top 10. Up 3 positions from where he started this race. Your biggest mover, though, in the top 10, no surprise here either, is John Ward in the 92. He is up 17 positions from where he started and still climbing. Biggest mover all, though, for this race up to this point. You got to go all the way back to 15th where Josh Gambrone, he is currently up 49 positions from where he started this race. And Josh, one of the guys who was wondering where his teammate was last week, but he's not going to have to do that this week. Ron Morris Jr. is up in 9th, and those two only separated by a couple of rows. They can get together. Maybe they can get on the outside, start to get something working. But still 2 by 2 up front. Garrett on the inside, Matt Lee on the outside. Matthew Baker, Jeff Merck lined up with their teammate versus the 2 Maines boys on the bottom. And again, 24 laps to go. That final fuel window will open at 20 laps to go. Do we see any early stops? We could, but we've heard Baker talk about it. We heard him talk about it last Thursday. These Xfinity cars, a lot of times it seems to be a little bit more reliant on just how big the pack is, more than it is how good everybody can push. So I think if that's the case, you got to try to stay out until you see a majority of everybody go into the pits, try to catch that group, come back out, but still no 3 wide. They're all staying 2 by 2 since that last wreck. You do have a couple sitting towards the back at the moment that did not like what they saw or have already had to use their fast pairs. Dallas Knox back in 33rd, 5 laps down. I believe that might have been due to a technical issue. Joey Galati, who was involved in a couple cautions here on the night, finds himself back in 32nd. Jimmy Emos in 31st. He's got a couple drafting partners here towards the back, but just playing it safe right now as he finds himself a lap down and hoping for that lucky dog. Heath Job, the last car on the lead lap in the 780 machine, getting a push from Dallas Knox. He sits just behind Ken McCullough Jr. He is drafting right now with the 4 of Justin Mills. A little bit of damage to his left side. Those two are teammates, so maybe a little bit of a strategy call here from the captain and the veteran himself. Ken McCullough Jr. saying, Justin, let's just sit back here a little bit, play it safe. These guys, they may not be done wrecking yet. We're coming up on the halfway mark, so let them keep going at it. That's exactly what they're doing up front. Garrett Maines with another big push from Matthew Baker gets clear. Jeff Merck with a little bit of a check up there. That caused a stack up on the outside. You saw the fire out of the pipes for John Ward. But everybody was able to hold on, keep it safe, keep it together. Up top, 3 wide goes Christopher McCullough. He wants more of the action. Already had to use his fast repair. It looks like he's going to tuck back down in line just above his teammate John Mullahan. And I say teammates, I need to find a different way to reference him, because when I say teammates in that case, I'm referring to normal teammates. But here tonight, Christopher McCall, it's not a teammate he's looking for. He's looking for the other guy with the letter B, Dustin Carruthers. And in fact, looks like they're going to go almost nose to tail right here. And if Dustin and Chris can stay lined up, that's a good group to try to make a move with. You know they're going to go to the front at some point. As there goes Chris, he's going to take another look, 3 wide on the outside of Steve Sizemore. Nothing going just yet. He's going to lose his help from Danny Esterman. Danny's going to let him drop back down in line to 24 further back. Checks up as well. Matt Lee still pushing hard on Garrett Maines' his back bumper. Matthew Baker up top. And everybody just continues to fight for that clean air. We have not seen as many lead changes as we're used to seeing, but Daytona, we didn't mention it in the race info, but you might have noticed already, it's a lot narrower than what we see at Talladega. And then, of course, the start-finish line about 100 yards sooner than what we see at Talladega. And therefore, the bottom's a little bit more of a dominant lane when they start to roll the middle and top. Or, excuse me, the top, that middle starts to stall. But here tonight, it has been all that bottom lane for the most part. A couple runs up top, but in the long run, definitely being on the bottom seems to be the working strategy, as Garrett Maines jumps back up top to pull a little draft with Matthew Baker. They'll get tandem up down the backstretch, and they're going to pull a lot of time right here as they come up on their first lap of the night. It is going to be the 10 machine of Joey Galati. He's going to lose another lap. I think this will put him 3 down. Not sure if the 10 has still got some damage that we're not seeing, or if he's just struggling right now and it's going to be able to hop in this pack and try to not lose any more laps here for a little while. Exactly what he does. Drops to the middle. I thought he was going to drop to the bottom there behind Everhart, but he chooses not to do so. Speaking of Daniel Everhart, similar mindset to Ken McCullough Jr. These two both have it. It's play it safe. It's a long race. Wait till the end to make your move, and it seems like you always see both of these guys at the front at the end of the race, and if they don't get wrecked, you usually see them placing in the money. But now with 19 laps to go, that fuel window is open. However, I don't think you're necessarily going to see pit stops too soon. Everybody's still comfortable with staying out. Jason Maines, big moment there. T-bombs the apron, has to catch it. That's going to allow this outside to surge. Matthew Baker going to be able to get Matt Lee clear. This will give him a much-needed cooldown as the 04 is actually going to pull the 5 clear. Might see a little trade right here. Nope, I thought Baker was going to drop low. Lee would stay high. Instead, they're both going to drop to the bottom as they roar off of turn number 4. Nobody even thinking about lining up for pit stops either. That tells you that you can't be expecting them really anytime soon, unless any of these duo teams decided to try a bold enough strategy. But you really kind of need at minimum 3 to 4 cars in a pack to make any progress. Any less than that, you're just not going to have the speed. You can keep up, but you're not going to have any speed to make any time. That is for sure. 18 laps to go at the World Center of Racing. Jeff Merck now leading the way again, not fighting for anything in the Series Championship, but still looking to break the dry streak right now. He is in the lead, and he has got a couple of teammates lined up behind him, Matthew Baker and Matt Lee. On the outside, a couple of old teammates, John Ward and Ron Morris Jr. making it happen. Ron Morris Jr. is another one of the guys that you don't see him get the opportunity to really push as hard as he wants, but that's what he gets to do here as he finds himself the lead pusher on the outside. And boy, I've had Ron behind me a couple times in these races, and when he gets locked up, he is one of the best pushers you will see out here. The driver out of Columbia, South Carolina. Good run so far tonight for Ron. We'll see if he can cap it off maybe with a win in his first start and help his teammate, who unfortunately he couldn't be here to help out last week. Still 2 by 2. Nobody has dared to take it really 3 wide except for a couple stragglers here and there. Christopher McCullough being one of them. Worked out a little bit for him though since the restart, and actually overall since the start of this race he's picked up 17 positions. So he's been on the move all night. The 2 of John Mullahan. He's going to be the first one to take it 3 wide now, as he heard me talking a little bit, and he is splitting the 10 car. In the middle they go. Will Christopher McCullough hop up? He doesn't. Pit stops further back. I'm trying to figure out exactly what that was. That was Larry McDonald. Got to think this was maybe a little bit of an unplanned stop for the 80 car. Don't see any damage, and again, we still have 16 laps to go. Nobody else came into the pits. So if this was scheduled for Larry, this is going to cost him all sorts of time, as got to think he would just take fuel. And it looks like that's exactly what it's going to be. So we'll see if, you never know, sometimes all it takes is one car to draw in a couple more, but it doesn't look like the case, is now they're actually fanning out 3 wide. On the Daytona Super Stretch, J.R. Miller up top with Christopher McCullough. John Mullihan trying to entice these guys to get a little racy as well. In the middle right there, you see the one machine of Steve Sizemore. Steve, another one of the new drivers to Money Racing, and he chose to do this series. He's got a K next to his name. He's looking for the other driver with a K, and may not be able to find him here tonight. I don't believe his teammate is in the field. If you see him, let me know. But J.R. Miller up top now. Mark Vondell has hopped up there as a couple of the other McCullough Motorsports guys have decided to drop down. But all of a sudden, things starting to get a little dicey here, boys. Calm it down just a little bit. The one of Steve Sizemore looks like he does not feel very comfortable in the middle of this pack through the turns. That's what you get. You get a lot of turbulent airs up front, though. Get a little bit more dice in there. Jeff Merck has to drop down quickly to hold off the charge from his teammate Matt Lee. Up top, John Ward, Ron Morris Jr., the duo that's been pushing out for a while, and they have tacked on two more affiliates to Ron Morris Jr., Christopher McCullough, and John Mullihan. J.R. Miller getting ready to get to the back bumper of that 2 car, but on the bottom now, starting to fade just a little bit, and as we come to the line, that lap, it is John Ward leading. Ron Morris Jr. trying to figure out right now where his teammate is and how they can get locked up, and trying to find the two teammates that are currently running the closest together, and I think it might be Aubrey Thompson and John Mullihan, another powerhouse of a duo in themselves. And so this lap here with 14 to go, I think these guys are going to wait to make that last pit stop until probably right around 10 laps to go. Anytime though now, you're good to go, so we'll see if they decide to come in this time. Off turn 4, that outside line still wouldn't be able to make it anyway, so I don't think that's going to be the case. And indeed it isn't. They'll go around another lap. Jeff Merck out in front at Daytona. One pitting out back here. Hold your horses. Actually, we got a couple in here. Ken McCullough Jr. and Justin Mills. They are going to try a little strategy. As a duo, they'll pit together. Looks to me like Mills maybe has some front end damage. Not sure where he got that from, but we'll try to get that fixed up as Ken McCullough Jr. comes to a halt in his box for fuel only. And now is where you start to get a couple of takers. Maybe this next lap you get a couple more takers. And all of a sudden, before you know it, you got the whole field trying to make a pit stop. To the bottom now goes John Ward. He's going to be able to lead him into the pits if he wants to. Mark Vondell Ron Morris Jr. on the outside is looking for Mark Vondell. Further towards the back, he has not made a pit stop yet, but he's still with this lead group. And here we go. Does the bottom lane drop out? Anybody else? They do. Here comes Matthew Baker, and actually a whole bunch more. Go to the spotter view for this one as we got a bunch of lockups, contact. Maines into Baker. He's going to get turned around. Jason Maines goes around on the pits. Will this draw the caution? It doesn't yet. Wouldn't be surprised if it does, though. Jason is able to get it back rolling. Gets going straight. That is a tough break as he got tagged right there by, it looked like, the 31 of Danny Eshelman. There was a couple different problems with that pit stop that we have to break down. So let's go back, take a look at that. Dylan Jones here. This is where this is all going to start potentially. No, it starts with Jason Maines, who's just getting in here way, way too hot. He's already locked up, and then on the bottom as well, you can see the 10 car just flying in. Just no chance you're going to be able to make it in going that speed. And so there's the contact to the inside wall for the 10, and then Matthew Baker gets hit from behind. Jason Maines made contact. Dylan Jones gets turned into the grass. It looks like Eberhardt checking up to keep it off of him. Joshua McCall, nowhere to go. Just a really, really messy pit road entry for that group, and cost a couple of them some penalties, and it did not draw the caution. So this could have some major implications. We'll know when these guys make their way back out of the pits. Taking a look at the track map, keep an eye on the leaders. Right now, looks like they're coming out of turn 4 as this group still has to get up to speed. Ron Morris Jr. is going to lead them off as the leaders just now working their way into the tri-oval. And so 11 laps to go is when that final pit stop was complete, and right about on cue. It's a good time for it. To a degree, it's kind of when we expected it. And so no surprise right there. Getting out of the pits, though, a little bit trickier here at Daytona than it is at Talladega, but Ron Morris Jr. looking extra sharp tonight. That was a phenomenal pit stop. He is going to go in second and come out as your leader. Getting a push from John Mullihan, J.R. Miller back there as well. As we take a look at the blip cam, everybody good to go on fuel now, and if we have some overtime. So it is all about trying to get to the front, put yourself in the right position. Get ready for the end of this race, and we're going to be coming to 10 laps to go at the line right here. Here comes a huge surge of momentum from Matt Lee, Jeff Merck, Christopher McCall, J.R. Miller going to try to block it. Nothing doing. The run's too big as they take it up top 3 by 3 across the start-finish line. Matt Lee, Merck going to get clear. Garrett Maines is maybe also, it's close. They're trying to pull the one down. I think he gets clear for just a moment, but he's not going to take it. Merck in lead, tried to pull Garrett Maines, it wasn't enough. Now Merck's going to go all the way to the bottom. Matt Lee will shuffle to the lead in the middle. And so Garrett, he'll have to fall back here. He'll get regrouped. Matthew Baker's up there. He'll find some guys to work with. In fact, you may not even have to wait. He stays on the outside here. He's going to get some help potentially. And it looked like for a second that was going to be the case as the 24 of Tyler Vickery jumped up there. Oh, Jimmy Emos, Dylan Jones, trouble here potentially. What has happened here? Caution is out. It seems like Dylan Jones has wrecked. See some damage on a couple other cars as well. Trying to figure out exactly what happened here. Jimmy Emos coming out of the pits. Thought it showed him involved, but he seems to be okay. So we go back and take our first look at this one. There's Jimmy Emos on the bottom. And up top here, is this coming out of the pits? Yeah, so he's coming out of the pits. And it's going to be a group that goes by the top. Looked like it was Danny Eshelman. And so far, so good here. Oh, further up, that's where you had the trouble. Dylan Jones in the 32. Oh, my goodness. He got walloped over there. It looked like maybe Danny Eshelman, who had nowhere to go. Let's go take a look at exactly what does happen here. So only 2 cars, and Dylan Jones is getting pretty racy here with Heath Job. And this isn't going to end too pretty. Let's take a look at this from TV3. So as they work through the tribal, go to the chopper view. Does Jones come down? Does Heath come up? Looks like Heath gets a little bit low. He's going to just barely touch the tribal apron. Everything seems fine at that point. No harm, no foul. Keep it going straight, and then Heath. Looks to me like Heath just kind of starts coming up. Yeah, he does. Watch Dylan's tires. Watch Heath. So Dylan does start to come down a little bit. You see he was straddling the seam and then eventually ends up below it. But at the same time, Heath Job had his left sides just about on the yellow, and by the time they make contact, you can see those left sides, they are not on the yellow. In fact, they're a couple feet off of it. And then once they do make contact, turns Heath Job up into the outside wall. Dylan Jones goes for a spin, and this is where it gets ugly as he slides down the banking here. Kaboom! Man, that was a huge hit for Danny Eshelman. Destroyed the front end of that car. Tried to shoot the gap. Maybe couldn't see it till the end, but boy, when he saw it, there must have just been no time to react. Let's go take a ride on board here with Danny Eshelman. You can see at this point he sees the spin, but if he's focused on the back bumper, maybe he doesn't see it. Now all of a sudden he sees it, and it's just way too late at that point to react. So it immediately ends Dylan Jones's car, and he's got to hope he's got a fast break. So if he does it, that'll be a night ender for him, most definitely. And there you go, man. I didn't even realize, but the one car, I think, made even more significant contact. That was Steve Sizemore. Man, you saw it completely rip off the right front suspension right off the get-go. Dylan Jones, tough break for him, and I don't think Heath Job necessarily got too much damage. Definitely going to have to go in for some repairs. But Jones, Steve Sizemore, Danny Eshelman definitely got the worst of this one. So it's a big wreck that puts us under caution here, under 10 laps to go. Third caution of the night. Jeff Merck being scored as your leader. Matt Lee in second, Ron Morris Jr. in third, J.R. Miller in fourth. John Mullihan back in fifth with Garrett Maines in sixth. Christopher McCall seventh, up 20 from where he started. John Ward back in eighth, up 15. Chad Ross in ninth, and Tyler Vickery, he is rounding out the top 10 and up 21 positions from where he started this race at. So again, a lot of speed here tonight. A lot of heavy hitters coming all the way from the back to the front. While we have a chance, I want to see if we could maybe bring one of these guys that we have in the field up here for just a little bit. How about Mr. Chad Ross? He's been having a good night. Hey, Chad, this is all stuff in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Well, first thing is it's good to see you back out here. We haven't seen you in a while, but boy, it seems like you haven't forgot much. You're up 3 from where you started this race. You're in the top 10 and looking at a chance to win some money, but it's going to be 6 laps to go. What's the game plan here?
Oh, buddy, just try to survive, man. It's been crazy out here. I kind of backed out a bit earlier, man, because they were getting scary, but it's time to go now. So it's about to be a 3-wide gridlock up here, and I'm just going to try to make my way through it.
Well, we know that you have typical teammates in terms of throughout the field. Everybody's got their own teammates, but a little different in the series. Everybody's got one primary teammate that they're supposed to work with. Do you feel like that makes it easier to get help right here, or does it make it harder?
I mean, maybe it's a little better because there's only going to be 2 of them instead of, you know, like a team of 5 working against you. I'm out here by myself, man, but I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, we certainly will. Well, good run so far. Good luck the rest of the way, and see if we're talking to you at the end of this thing.
Thanks, awesome. Good to hear from you, buddy.
You as well. And Chad Ross, by the way, I think he might be the only remaining Team 3 driver, and man, what a legacy that team has left behind. And Money Racing Chad Ross, the original captain, still is. And so he continues to carry the torch and is going to try here tonight to see if he can't maybe bring a victory to what is now solo car team, but what once was probably about a 3 or 4 car team. So the lights are off. That means we are ready to go back green. Again, it's going to be 6 laps to go. If we can make it around 5 times, white flag comes out, race will be official, but something tells me these guys might not be done wrecking just yet. The aggression has certainly picked up, as Chad Ross just noted, and survival means that even as the drivers, they're starting to feel the instinct that there could be another wreck. We're getting ready to find out. All right, here we go. Merck on the inside, Matt Lee on the outside. NBG has positions 1 and 2 locked up. J.R. Miller, Ron Morris Jr. in row 2. Telling you, Ron, keep your eye. Could be his night. Here we go. We're going to find out. Green flag back in the air. 6 laps to go at Daytona. It's a good start for both guys in the first row. You kind of expected that, a little bit of a team-coordinated start. And all they're doing right here is trying to hold at least 2 of the 3 lanes. And I say 3 because there will be a third. Question is when and where. And I think it's going to be right in the region of that 5 car. Matthew Baker started to drop back a little bit. He's got to run. Question is, does he trust Logan York to go with him? No move just yet. He takes a peek out, quickly ducks back down in line. Those are 3 different manufacturers right there that you see all lined up. Brambilla, York, those 2 are teammates. Toyota and Ford, they're definitely going to go 3 wide. I think if you're Baker, you got to have that in your ear, know that that move is coming, and maybe try to be the first one to do it. I think he'd get some support if he decided to. Meanwhile, up front, Merck has jumped to the outside. Contact around Mohan, trying to save it. He does, but now we got another one. It's Ross going for a slide through the pits. They're all still trying to save it, and it's not going to work. They are wrecking out back. Oh, big hit into the inside wall.
Yellow flag is out.
Yellow flag is out. I think that might have been Ken McCullough Jr. It was. That will bring his end to a night. Had they used the fast repair earlier, man, was that a big impact. Let's go back and take a look. Brings out your 4th caution tonight. It's going to give us a restart with under 5 to go now. Boy, this started, I'll tell you what, this started all the way back off of turn number 4. This was a wreck that just kind of drug itself out until we came out of the tri-oval. So here we go. Take a look at the blimp cam. This actually starts further up with John Mullihan, who saves it. Does a phenomenal job at it, but here you go. Coming off of 4. Edge, J.R. Miller gets a little offset, but I didn't think. Let's go to the screenshot here and see if this shows us anything. So there you go. J.R. Miller, he's getting a little high. Maybe getting a push from Garrett. It's hard to say, but whatever happens, that 78 gets down the track, makes some slight contact with John Mullihan. That sends Mullihan into the door. Matt Lee, Christopher McCall sees it. Ducks low. Mullihan gets low. Chris is able to check up. What a save by Mullihan. I still cannot believe he was able to hold on to it. But then out back, you got checkups trying to check up for this checkup. Thompson is going to turn Chad Ross. And that might have been the best news for Chad Ross because things are about to get ugly in front here. As we go to Ken McCall Jr., he's up on the outside wall, trying everything to hold on. But, I mean, look at this. They're fanned out 3, and then the 0-1 of Joshua McCall still pushing Ken McCall Jr. there. So they're just trying to get through the wreck, gets him sideways down into Nash Brambilla, who gets into the 85 of Samuel Carter. Daniel Eberhardt goes for a slide here as well. Nothing he could do. And then Ken McCall Jr. coming down the track. This is where things are going to get brutal. Watch this hit for the 0-3. Bam! Hard into the inside wall. And so that's going to total Samuel Carter and Ken McCall Jr. And then there you see the 10 of Joey Galati. He goes for a slide and then keep it off the barrier. Man, just barely. Good save for him. Unfortunately, not so much luck for Ken McCall Jr. Go take an onboard view through this one, and you'll see just how chaotic it looks from a driver's perspective when you get kind of in what's going to be a wreck like this. You see everybody in the grass, splitting out, trying to miss it, and wow. Almost collected Christopher McCall. Chris got extremely lucky right there that he wasn't in that. Taking a look here again from the spotter stand to see just how many this collects. Saw Eberhardt slide. Not sure if he hits anything here. He doesn't. Eberhardt locks it down wisely, and result he is not going to hit anything. And then Jason Maines He's going to go low, make sure to get plenty out of the way. And so all in all, I think that's going to end probably 2 cars night, including Ken McCall Jr. and Samuel Carter as well. And so as we go back live, it is going to put us in an overtime restart. Jeff Merck being scored as your leader, Matt Lee second, J.R. Miller third, Ron Morris Jr. fourth, Garrett Maines rounding out your top 5. Well, unfortunate news for Ken McCall Jr. being involved in that wreck, but let's see if we can get a quick word on him on what exactly happened there, on what he saw to the racing here tonight. Hey, Ken, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got it.
Well, talking to you earlier than I would have liked to, because that means your race looks like it is over. You had to use the fast pair earlier, but break it down to us. What happened there? I mean, it looked like a wreck that started off a 4, and you finally got caught up in it coming out of tri-oval.
Yeah, I was checking up because of what was going on in front of me, and Josh didn't know it, and he just gave me a big bump. Wasn't much I could do there. I just hate anybody else got involved in it.
Well, you still got a teammate out running there in Justin Mills, and overall through the series, it's a win and you're in, right? So, I mean, you still have a chance. We got a lot of tracks to head to. How do you kind of push a race like this out of your mind and try to move on to the next one?
Well, once we get 5 or 6 teams locked in, you know, it's going to be a lot easier to get yourself locked in. You might get locked in from 10th on back. You know, it gets a little easier once we get a bunch of teams.
All right, well, I appreciate you giving us some insight on that last wreck, and we hate to see it end that way, but good race overall, and we'll see if Justin Mills can go out there and get it done.
Yes, sir. Thank you, buddy.
Ken McCall Jr., series owner, and one of the big dogs, helping out one of the little dogs, Justin Mills. And man, every time I say some of these names, I keep saying, why are we calling these guys little dogs? Quick reminder, where Ghost Racing Network's going to head next as we get the 1 lap to go. Tomorrow night, a little bit of a special event. R&R Racing League is going to host some Monday night money racing. Practice at 8:30, qualifying at 9:25, followed by the race at 9:30. $15 entry. And look at that, $200 to first, $150 to second, $100 to third. And you better believe it's going to be broadcasted right here on Ghost Racing Network. Stop by, say hi. 40 laps, 70% fuel, 2 green-white checkers, and 2 faster pairs. So we're going to see a lot of aggressive racing over on that one. And then also tomorrow night is the Little Guy Series, week number 2. Over in Dega Pros. Dawson Wise will be on the call for that one. A lot of fun. Last week, Dustin Carruthers got a phenomenal win. KSR has been on a tear over there recently. So they're going to look to continue that momentum tomorrow night. If I'm available, I will be in there as well. So 2-lap shootout. I'm not saying anything about the guy in first. Not jinxing him again. So we're just going to go right to second, where Matt Lee finds himself up a position from where he started. J.R. Miller back in third. Ron Morris Jr. in fourth. Garrett Maines rounding out your top 5. John Ward in 6th. John Mullahan in 7th. Tyler Vickery in 8th. Matthew Baker 9th. And Aubrey Thompson rounding out your top 10. And telling you, this is about to get crazy. Again, I want to thank everybody that came out tonight. Big news if you missed it at the beginning of the broadcast. Ghost Racing Network tonight, just before this broadcast went live, hit 1,000 subscribers. I know back when Bryce started, couldn't have imagined how sweet of a feeling it'd be. He's worked so hard to get to this point. You got to love it for him. And then I know when I came here, Ghost Racing was, I believe, at about 264 subs. So just to see the amount of people that have tuned in to watch us do our thing here over the course of the last year and a half, so awesome to see. We can't thank you guys for all that you do. We appreciate you being here. All right, here we go to wrap up some Saturday night money racing. By the way, I just realized I said Monday night tomorrow. Monday night in a couple days. It's Saturday night, and now it is officially Sunday morning. Here we go, 2 laps to go at Daytona. Green flag is back in the air. Good start, a little bit of a checkup on the outside. This allows Merck to hop up. I don't know about that move, but he's got a teammate up there, Matt Lee. Likes what he sees, but J.R. Miller is getting a lot of push right here as well from Garrett Maines. Just as I say that, John Mullahan is going to jump back up to the top in front of Matthew Baker. And so this is going to hurt the momentum on that inside line. You have all the tension you need, though, here for these next 2 laps. That means push, push, push with all you got. And hope it doesn't blow up. Jeff Merck up on the top right now. Him and Matt Lee looking stout at the front. Merck's going to get clear. He will drop back down to the bottom. Lee still up top with John Mullahan now. Those two have worked together sometimes in the past. Matthew Baker in the 5. I think he's going to go 3 wide at some point. Question's going to be, where does he do it first? Joshua McCall went high. I don't think Ron Morris Jr. thought he was going to. Tried to check out to let his teammate back in. He's not going to do it, but here we go. White flag is in the air. 1 lap to go at Daytona. Matthew Baker with a good run on the outside. He picked up perfect time to jump up. It's getting tight on the bottom. There's the contact. Merck goes around. Jeff Merck trying to save it. He does, but he is out of it. No chance to win it for the 60. The streak will continue as they race on to the Daytona Super Stretch. More contact, a lot of physicality right now between your top 5. Baker on the top, Matt Lee on the bottom, Mullahan pushing on the bottom, McCullough pushing up top. Baker now going to get the advantage. And that's 2 teammates now. It's all about can they keep it clean to the finish. No third lane, or at least no one that's close enough. It's going to be a drag race between teammates. McCullough pushing with all he's got. Lee gets turned. Lee gets turned coming to the line. It's going to be a drag race, but Matthew Baker is going to steal one at the line after Matt Lee gets turned. Oh my goodness. Well, you better believe there is some chitter chatter going on in the chat right now. Matt Lee is not a happy fella, and you can't blame him. About 100 yards of a chance to win it, and instead it goes up in a big crash and a night over. But Matthew Baker, he is your winner. Driver out of Magnolia, Texas. He's not in the championship, but boy, if he was, he would have just locked his teammate in. John Mullahan brings home second. Good finish for his team in general, as Aubrey Thompson also finishes inside the top 10. So let's go back here before we do anything else and take a look at this finish. So here we go. Coming off turn 4, everything looks really clean. And honestly, I was expecting these guys to just drag race it back, but then Mullahan, he just gets offset. No ill intent here by Mullahan. Just, he's going to get offset. You're pushing as hard as you can, and in John's defense, he's got Ron Morris Jr. right on his bumper, and he's got Lee straight there, but then right there, he doesn't. And now when he goes to make contact that second time, he's offset to the left, and that's going to hook Matt Lee around towards the inside wall. And then Matthew Baker from that point, he had it. Thought it was going to be a drag race, but the bottom had lost all the momentum from that. What a victory for Matthew Baker. And look like, well, we're going to try to catch him doing a burnout, but he's already finished his burnout, and he's taking it back to the hauler. So we'll go ahead and take a look at your race results here for the night. Getting the win was Matthew Baker for NBG Motorsports. John Mullahan in second. Joshua McCullough finishes in third. Ron Morris Jr. in fourth. John Ward fifth. Logan York sixth. J.R. Miller in seventh. Aubrey Thompson finishes in eighth, with Garrett Maines ninth, and David Sheets rounding out your top 10. Christopher McCall finishes back in 11th. Josh Gambrone in 12th. Justin Mills 13th. Danny Barnes in 14th. Chad Ross in 15th, with Tyler Vickery in 16th. Mark Vondell 17th, with Nash Brambilla finishing in 18th. Rounding out your top 20 here tonight is Jason Maines, Daniel Eberhardt. Dustin Carruthers finishes 21st. Larry McDonald in 22nd. Steve Sizemore 23rd. Samuel Carter in 24th. Jimmy Emos 25th, with Jeff Merck in 26th. Matt Lee 27th, with Dallas Knox 28th. Joey Galati in 29th. Ken McCall Jr. rounding out your top 30. Danny Esselman in 31st. Dylan Jones 32nd. Heath Job rounding out that 33rd position. All right, we are going to go get your top 3 in here for interviews. Stick with us. We will be right back at Daytona. All right, back live at Daytona International Speedway. Going to start first tonight with your third place finisher, Joshua McCullough. Josh, this is Austin in the booth. You got a copy?
Gotcha.
Well, I know you don't like interviews, man, but this is 2 for 2 tonight, so you're going to have to get used to them. You get another podium spot. You get it at the end. You had to do a lot of pushing, but overall, tell us about your race tonight.
Man, it was a crazy race. I waited patiently the whole entire race. I really thought I had no shot starting on 13th. But once we went green on that last start, on that checkup on the high side, gave me the opportunity to jump up. And then I was lined up behind Baker, so I knew I was set up pretty good. And once Baker jumped up, we were on a roll.
Yes. Keep going.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I didn't want to cut you off there, but I was going to say, you've been flying all night. We see you play some strategy, a tough break last week, but we know when we head to a track like Daytona and Talladega, it's all about pushing. Next week, though, we go to a track in Atlanta. It's a little bit of the best of both worlds, mile and a half, a little bit of pushing. How do you take what you learned here tonight and take it over there?
I never really ran on Atlanta, so I'm pretty worried about that.
I don't think you got too much to worry about if you keep racking up these podium finishes. Congrats on that third place tonight. Before we let you head out, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
I want to thank my team, and I want to thank you for broadcasting.
All right, and thank you for talking to us. Congrats again on the third place finish, and we will see you out here next week. All right, and now that'll move us on to your second place finisher here tonight, John Mullahan. John, this is Austin in the booth. You got a copy?
Roger.
Well, I think the first question I got to ask you is, man, what went wrong? Looked like you and Lee were set up maybe for a 1-2 finish. We know it wasn't intentional, but what happened there coming off of turn 4?
Oh man, obviously just put a little bit too much mustard on that dog. It looked like maybe the left sides maybe went below the yellow. When we came back up, we just weren't able to square up in time. It was obviously nothing malicious or intentional. The top 5 paid the same amount of money, and I was just trying to get Mr. Lee up there and get him a little dub, and unfortunately it just didn't pan out tonight.
Certainly part of the Super Speedway racing game at times, but hey, you had another consistent finish here tonight. You bring home second, not racing in it for the championship series, but hey, how does it feel to still win some money nonetheless?
Well, I think Kenny said that we will be racing because Matt Baker was not a team driver, so we were the first qualifying team. So Aubrey and I should be in contention for the championship race now, yeah?
There you go, and I'll tell you what, for a minute, I had forgot about the Power Duo. I talked about you guys all night. The letter didn't pop up on my screen, and I thought I was delusional for a minute. But nonetheless, before we let you head out, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Oh, yeah, obviously, man. Kenny for putting this thing on, you up in the booth, all the guys over at Canal Valley Key and Fob, Will Jewelry Alone, my sons Jackson and Carter, my fiance Brittany, and everybody over on Team McCullough, man. I really appreciate you guys.
Thank you for talking to us. Good finish for John Mullahan and his teammate Aubrey Thompson, both in the top 10 tonight. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, sir.
All right, now that'll bring us to your winner. We got a chance to talk to him last race. Second time in the night, Matthew Baker. Baker, you got a copy.
What's up, buddy?
All right, well, this time we're talking to you again, but this time it's in victory lane. You get the win, and, man, it looked like it was going to be a 1-2 for NBG. Doesn't quite pan out that way, but you come into a series, you're not racing for the main prize, and you still find a way to get to the front. How'd you do it?
Just a great push from Josh there. We made the move at the right time. Well, the third lane made the move at the right time. I was just lucky enough to be the one leading it there. He gave a great push to me out of 4, and as soon as he was hooked to my back bumper, I knew he had a chance against 2 cars. Really unfortunate. It looked good. They had all MBG cars up, leading each line. Looks like Mullahan just kind of came down the track at net-coated Merck, and when it net-coated Merck, he got hooked, and then off of 4, it looks like Mullahan gets a little offset with Lee, tries to line back up and bumper hooks him, but it was great teamwork the whole time. Garrett running with us there. Good. It was a good night overall. I would have liked to seen another teammate there, but it's nice to get the win in the Xfinity car here.
Certainly was. Well, before we let you head out to enjoy your win tonight, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, just thanks again to ABG Motorsports, Bacon Sun Construction. Thanks to Martin Sports, Coasting Thunder. Thanks to you for putting on the race, for you for broadcasting, for McCullough Motorsports putting on this race. It's my first one running. It was a lot of good, clean racing to end it. There's a couple of unfortunate single car spins to end it, but it seemed like a good race, and really excited for Tuesday and Ron Morris's Tuesday Night Thunder to take that Elite 8 in Talladega. It's going to be a lot of fun in these cars.
Certainly is. Good race. You got some momentum to head over there. Thank you for talking to us, and congrats on the win tonight.
Thanks, bud.
All right, that is just about going to wrap up our coverage here tonight for Race 2 of the Big Dog, Little Dog Series. Another good one. Again, next week, these guys will be at Atlanta Motor Speedway, same time. Unfortunately, though, we will not be broadcasting. Again, going to be running the Rolex 24 Hours with your tonight's winner, Matthew Baker, Alex Hill, and Cody Nagels. Thank you all so much for tuning in here tonight. As always, I hope you enjoyed. I'm Austin Green from Ghost Racing Network, and until next time, have a good night.